Hello, welcome to another edition of Strategic Gaming. My name is Mac Taylor, here to talk to you about another episode of Survivor Island of the Idols, Episode 2. Without further ado, let's go ahead and go. So Aaron's pissed about being out of the vote. And Vince kind of lashes out at him like, hey, you wrote my name down. What was up with that, man? Like, I don't know why you're upset. Your name was not on parchment, mine was. And Missy really wants to take the time to reel Aaron back in because she doesn't want to burn any bridges just in case in the future, tribe swap or whatever, she may need Aaron to work with her. So that is a very smart maneuver. And on the Vokai tribe, Nora is gets up early and no one else gets up early. So she's like, everybody here's lazy. I just want some help around here. This is really hard. And I loved it. Oh, man. Seeing somebody just flame out. I mean, not flame out, but just flame on Survivor. Just burning everything is great. Because she's grading because all day long she's like, I just can't believe that nobody helps anything. And blah, 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 blah. And everyone's annoyed. Super annoyed. And Nora, the person she's annoyed at the most is Molly. Because she feels like Molly, Jack, and Jamal are the cool kids, and her and Jason are the nerdy kids, and she wants to take Molly out. She's the ringleader. She's the Parvati. She's got to go. And Jason's like, whoa, you need to take it down a notch, all right? Like, you're going to get your ass booted if you're not careful. But Nora and Jason, they do agree Molly would be a great target. And Molly, on the other hand, she wants to target Jason because Jason is not out of the hot water from that idols hunt situation. And Nora calls Molly, Jack, and Jamal the royal party, the king, the queen, and the jack. I really like that. So I will refer to them as the royal party for this episode. And how I view it is that they're the king, queen, and jack, but Tommy is the player holding the cards. Because Tommy, I think, really runs that alliance, runs the game. But everyone's more worried about the cards, not the player. So Chelsea gets a fire started, and she goes out and randomly finds an idol in a tree. So she's like, whoa, there's an idol in here. This is awesome. I look good because I started a fire, and now I have an idol that I didn't have to go to the island of the idols to get. Woo! So Chelsea's looking really good. And Nora's doing like a water yoga. And a boat comes up and says, hey, Kelly, you're going to the island of the idols. Now, Kelly is a fan. Because she comes up and she's like in tears. Because she's like, this is Boston Rob and Sandra. That's awesome. That would be me too. I'd be like, oh my God. It's Boston Rob and Sandra. And Jason tells her, think outside the box and assume nothing. And she's like, and then it cuts to her confessional, which is like, I'm just thinking outside the box and assume nothing. And I'm like, well, that makes Jason look really good. It's like shades of Rob Sesternino telling Matthew Von Ertfelda, this is the most important conversation we're going to have. And then cuts to Matt's confessional. This is the most important conversation that we've had. I'm not saying that Kelly is a Matthew Von Ertfelda. I think she knows the game infinitely more than Matthew Von Ertfelda did. But just in that situation, it was pitch perfect, just like that. So Kelly gets there, and Rob and Sandra are just telling them all these things about themselves. Rob's talking about his kids and Amber, and Sandra's talking about her daughter and her dogs and her husband. And she's almost like, all right, can we get past this and get to what's the challenge? She's not focused on what they're saying, but the challenge. And well, this is the challenge. Part of Survivor is being able to listen when people talk to you and remember things, because if someone gives you their life story and you don't remember it, they're not happy about that. So, she has to do this. She has to answer these questions. Like Rob's like, you can answer 5 questions, you get an idol for a day, for one tribal. And she's like, no, I don't know if I can remember that many. And he's like, all right, how about you remember? It was like 10. About like 5. And then he got out for like 2. And she's like, no. And he's like, well, about like 3. Like the deal sweetened. And then she only had to answer like 3 questions. She gets them right. And so she gets an idol for, I think, the next 3 tribal councils that she goes to. Something like that. Or maybe it's the next 3 in general. And she hides the idol in her bun, which is actually a very smart maneuver. But she goes to the beach and she's like crying. And she's like stripping down. Like, I don't have the idol. And I'm like, okay, that's a bit much. Like, that's a little bit dramatic. You didn't have to do all of that. You know? Like, you could have taken it down a notch. But nevertheless, worked, I guess. So we get like you have to swim, get this ladder, and like sometimes like walk up the ladder, and everybody holds the ladder up. It's a really odd kind of challenge. And then you have to get a ball in like these 3 targets. Like once you get back to the beach. Lyro actually ends up winning immunity because Vogai just has so much trouble with the ladder. So Lyro wins immunity and Spices. So now it's like, oh shit, what's Vokai gonna do? And this is actually the more interesting tribal option, so I'm glad that we got this one. Nora's like, I'm not going to vote against Jason. And Jamal's like, whoa, what does that leave us to do, Nora? We might have to vote you out if you want to vote Jason. Like, Jamal thinks, like, everything's going to go his way in this. And so they talk about splitting the vote between Nora and Jason. In this case, Jason does have an idol. And Jamal's like, man, our alliance is like, it's just like I wanted it to be. Like, nobody knows we're working together and we're under the radar. And I'm like, yo, everybody knows you guys are working together. Like, it's pretty obvious. Like, normally this alliance would work, but still, like, you have to know that people are aware of it. So, Jamal is just a little too comfortable. And Molly even says, this is an easy vote. So Jamal's like napping. I'm like, ooh, man, the edit's really setting you guys up for failure. And Lauren gets Kelly and Janet together, and they talk about, should we just take out Molly? And Janet's like, yeah, can we? And like, yeah. Lauren's like, let's flip. Like, we're in the middle, kind of. Let's go to the top. Let's take it over. So I love Lauren for this. Like, she does this perfect thought of like, we're in the middle, which is okay. We could totally ride this out. Nora and Jason, it's not going to hurt us to take them out, but maybe we won't have a chance to take out Jack, Jamal, or Molly, because by then they'll have the numbers and we'll be the minority. So let's do it now, be at the top, and we won't have to worry about the reshuffle. So it was a really good idea. So she makes this new power structure. And then they go up to Tommy to fill him in on it. And he's like, oh, man. I don't know. Like, I'm close with Jamal and Jack. And I don't want them to not work with me because I voted against them. However, Tommy doesn't have much of a choice because he doesn't want to be the guy that votes against the majority. Still, Molly would still go home, but now he's considered to be on the bottom too. He wants to stay with the power structure, but still under the radar. So he has to kind of go with this move. And Jason and Nora, they're like, oh, we can actually vote out Molly. And Nora's like dancing, like, yeah, we did it. And he's like, no, stop dancing. Stop. This is like the town from Footloose. No dancing. I love Nora and Jason as a duo are good TV because Jason is trying to play, besides the idol blunder, he was my winner pick in the predictions. Like, I think Jason wants to play a very smart game but his only partner right now is Nora, who's like Angelina, but a lot more likable. So she's very quirky, but she's kind of a train wreck for Survivor. And he's forced to work with her. He's like, just stop dancing, like please, don't make me look bad. I love it. I love the duo. And at Tribal. Let me pronounce words correctly. At Tribal, Jason calls out Jamal. He's like, well, yeah, of course. Jamal's like, I think Jason's just playing fast. And Jason's like, I have to play fast. And he's like, unlike you didn't even bring a bag to Tribal Council. You're so cocky. And Jamal's like, hey, I'm playing slow and easy. Survivor's a slow burn from me. And Jason's like, all right, I don't have an idol. And they're like, you don't have to do that. Jason, you shouldn't even feel on the outs. And Nora's like, of course we feel on the outs because we are in the outs. And it's like, woo, it's heated. It's getting good. And by a vote of 7 to 2 to 1, the 2 votes for Jason, 1 vote for Nora, Molly is voted out, blindsided out the wazoo. Like, you can call the Ronnie vote a blindside. Like, it was a blindside, but we kind of saw it come. The Molly thing was like, ooh, man, like that shifted some power structure. Molly taken out, and she really is the part. She looks almost identical to Parvati, and she has Parvati vibes. And so to take her out early, I think was a smart idea, because most seasons I think she gets like top 6. Like, I think I had her number 2 in my predictions, because A, I didn't have much information to go off of, and B, I think her archetype always does well. She kind of paid the piper for the Parvati type of player. So rolling in episode 3. Tommy and Kelly, they're trying to smooth things over with Jack and Jamal. Especially Tommy, really trying to get Jamal back. Jack is this smile like, man, I just like, even though I was on the wrong side of it, like I saw a blind side. That was so cool. We're playing Survivor. Again, this is like a very boyish charm, Joe Anglin. And Karishma talks about like, oh, my culture, we don't like showing off our bodies, and I'm in a bikini, and it makes me uncomfortable, which I'm sure would. I'm sure that like that's a very Karishma. I don't like Karishma, but her story, like the group she's representing and everything, I think is great. It's just I don't like her in particular. The guys want to team up on Lyro and try to get the numbers back. And Vince is like, yeah, it's early. And then his confession is like, no, I'm not stupid. I'm not working with you guys. Which, he shouldn't. Like, everything is going good for Vince at this point. There's no reason for him to try to flip. Dan, also on Voco, is happy with the direction of his game. He thinks he's doing quite well. And Nora's still on the bottom in his eyes. He goes to Tommy and he's like, hey, Nora's like, as far as I'm concerned, it should be an 8 to 1 Nora vote next time. And Tommy and Jamal talk about, like, maybe we should take out Dan, because he's kind of cocky and arrogant, and, maybe that's a good idea. So Dan's name's coming up. And then Tommy's like, well, maybe I do take out Jamal, because he's trying to be very sneaky, very strategic. I don't know if I'm the strategic one. I don't need another strategic player here. That's going to be bad for me. So there's a lot of names being thrown around on Vokai. Again, I think 9 times out of 10, they're the more interesting option to go to Tribal Council. And so Karishma cuts herself, and she's crying on the ground like nobody sees her, because she's so quiet. Like, I've never seen someone bleeding on the ground makes so little noise. Like, she's just the quietest crier. And she's talking about, like, nobody cares about me, and, this tribe sucks. And I'm like, you could have made your injury, at least on the edit. Again, we don't see everything, but on the edit, I didn't see anybody really notice your injury. Like, it was bleeding pretty good. She said she cut herself to the bone. I don't know. I didn't see that. But I did see a lot of blood. So, I'm sure it hurt. But still don't understand, like, she was so quiet about it, so nonchalant about it, looking, that how is anybody supposed to know, especially with the hubbub of camp life? So Karishma, we're going to talk about a lot in these coming episodes. She's very whiny. I can't stand her. So, Vince is sent to the Island of the Idols. And as soon as he leaves, everyone's like, we should probably try to flush this idol. Why this didn't show up for Elizabeth or Kelly is crazy, because it definitely is a thing for this tribe right now. Like, we should flush the idol. And Dean's like, yeah, but in case he does have it, we should split the vote, right, guys? And they're like, Dean. He's like, what? Like, everybody's here right now. So if we're talking about splitting the votes, who the hell else would get the votes? And he's like, oh, shit. And it's confession. He's like, well, that was pretty stupid for me. Like, Dean has, like, 0 survivor skills. But I love him. He is such good TV. So Vince, and he's like crying, breaking down. He's so excited to meet Rob and Sandra. Like, it's almost uncomfortable how long he cries for. But his task is he must sneak into the enemy camp and take fire and bring it back to Rob and Sandra, and he'll get an idol that lasts for 2 tribal councils. So he takes the deal, and he actually, and this is really cool. This, I think, is the coolest thing so far they've done on Island of the Idols. So he, sneaks to the camp, and their fire's out, and so he just takes ash, and like there's a couple times it looks like someone's gonna wake up, and they just don't quite see him, because if there's a fire going, they might have actually saw him, but because the fire was out, they couldn't see him. So it was actually very cool to watch him sneak into the enemy camp. So he gets ash in his thermos, and he brings it back, and he gets his idol. And he's like, oh my god, that was so cool. Like, I got to stay calm under pressure. I did my task. And then back at Camp Karishma she's like, oh, I'm the next one to go. And, oh man, I don't want to go now. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, would you just do something about it instead of bitching about it? Jesus. Like, it's grating just to hear someone throw a pity party for themselves constantly. It is just truly so annoying. I'm sorry. I tried to be sympathetic to her. Like I said, to her situation, for the party of people she represents. That is an interesting storyline to me. Like her not feeling comfortable in a bathing suit. If she doesn't feel comfortable with that, she shouldn't have to wear that. But this part of it, the actual just who Karishma is, annoys me. So we get you to get a key, and everyone has to balance on this teeter-totter and then solve a puzzle. And Lyro is terrible at puzzles, as we see, because Vokai from behind ends up winning this immunity here and comfort. And Karishma was the one that blew the puzzle. So this should be pretty cut and dry. Karishma's kind of dragging the tribe down. But they're so concerned about Vince and his idol. Even though Vince probably won't play it because he's with the girls. So they should really, taking out Vince, I think, is a bad move. Because he is loyal to them. And, granted, they should try to pry about, like, did you get an idol? And maybe he says yes, but I only have it for the next 2 tribals. And you shouldn't be planning on voting him out. You should be planning on voting, like, Aaron, Dean, or Karishma. So, but Missy's like, I gotta keep my girls, so Vince has to go. But I think it really is a bad move because of Vince's loyalty. So, like I said, Missy doesn't want to give up a girl, even though I think it's a bad move. Vince wants Tom out. He's like, hey, I'm cool with voting Tom out. And they should maybe consider that even. But Chelsea's like, no, it has to be Vince. We gotta get that idol out. Not knowing that she has an idol. And Karishma, again, just very down, and she's like, Vince is like, well, who do you want to vote for? Trying to kind of get the Tom thing to come out. And she's like, I don't know. I just think it's going to be me. And he's like, well, give me a name. And she's like, I don't know. I don't think there's a chance. And he's like, vote Tom. Vote for Tom. Like, he's pissed because I feel the same way Vince does. Like, Jesus Christ, woman. Like, if you think you're in that much trouble, give me a name and then we can talk about it. Don't just bitch the whole time. But Vince has no idea it's him that's being thrown out there, and there is some irony there. But still, Karishma is grating much more than Nora. Nora has moments I like her and moments that she annoys me, whereas Karishma just has moments she annoys me. So we get the tribal council. It seems like things are going away, and boom, 5-3-1. One vote being for Tom, 3 for Karishma. Vince voted out. Rob and Sandra are shocked and sad because I think they really liked Vince. And Vince is like, oh, God. Like, about the third time his name popped up, he's like, there it is. I'm gone. And it was sad to see Vince go. I think in a lot of seasons, without him getting sent to the Idol, down to the Idols put the target on him. He was a victim of the season more than, I think, his own downfall. Maybe he should have been honest about what the Idol was to people like Elaine and Chelsea, but I mean, there wasn't much he could do. Really, this one was kind of out of his hands. He should have played the Idol, though. The biggest, and I know it seemed like I was a little too easy on Vince, he should have played it because he has the Idol for the next 2 tribal councils. And you don't even know if you're going to go to tribal the next time. So play it. And then, if you play it and be like, well, now I don't have it, so maybe now the target would go off of him because he doesn't have an Idol anymore. It just seemed kind of dumb to not play it here. And also, Elizabeth talked about, she said the Island of the Idols was like Ghost Island, like hitting the urn. And so did Kelly. So, if he was totally truthful, like, hey, Elizabeth said that it was like Ghost Island, but really it's Rob and Sandra and you had to do a task for them, so she must have an Idol, which she doesn't, because she lied about it. That probably would have gotten him in good graces too. He had many opportunities, I think, to save himself, even though he didn't know he was in danger. Had plenty of opportunities to up his rank with the Island of the Idols and the Idol itself, and didn't do himself any justice either way. So again, Vince, sad to see him go. But there was opportunities he failed on his end, definitely. But still, I think, was a victim of the season circumstances. Because if he never went to Island of the Idols, he never had to worry about any of those variables anyway. And with that, that will end our discussion of episodes 2 and 3. So next time, I'm going to talk about episode 4 of Island of the Idols. Again, I'm Mac Taylor. See you guys next.